Welcome to our show, Jonah and the Whale. Today, we will start with a story taken from the book of Jonah. It is a book of the Nevi'im, or prophets, in the Tanakh, or Hebrew Bible, as well as in the Old Testament of the Christian Bible. The main character of the story is Jonah, who was an Israelite. Do you know what an Israelite is? An Israelite is a citizen of an ancient Hebrew nation, which is now the country called Israel.
Jonah was a wise man who believed in and prayed to God. He was willing to help others. People trusted and respected him and asked his advice. Because of his pure and kind heart, God also trusted him and asked him to carry out his work.
Jonah, the people of the great city of Nineveh have been living immorally. I want you to go there and preach to them and instill goodness into their hearts. They must obey my words and repent for their sins.
But my Lord, they have done nothing good. Why must I go there and preach to them? They will not listen to me.
They deserve a chance to know my love and God's law. If they choose to ignore my teachings, then they must pay for their wickedness.
After listening to his assignment from God, Jonah left town. Do you know where he went? Instead of heading to Nineveh, he packed up and set off for the city of Joppa, in the opposite direction of Nineveh. He boarded a ship sitting by the dock to get as far away as possible. Obviously, he didn't want the job.
I'm afraid the bad people in Nineveh will not treat me kindly. Why should I go there anyhow? These people should be punished for their evil deeds.
At sea, while Jonah was sound asleep below the deck, a big storm broke out. The ship was rocked back and forth by the storm. The lives of all the passengers were in grave danger. Discovering that Jonah was still asleep, the sailors tried to wake him up.
Wake up! A storm is upon us. It suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Why is this happening? It was calm just a minute ago.
At that moment, Jonah realized that by going against the will of God and running away from his destiny, he had brought on the storm and put others in danger.
This is my fault. I am so sorry. I ignored God's command and ran away. You must throw me overboard, and then the storm will cease.
You can't be serious? How do you know it will work? Besides, we cannot send you to your death with a clear conscience. There must be something else we can do.
The storm grew worse. The crew and the passengers were all at risk of drowning. Jonah insisted that the only option was to throw him overboard. Having no other solutions, the sailors reluctantly agreed. To everyone's amazement, as soon as Jonah fell into the sea, the storm ceased. And what happened to Jonah after he plunged into the ocean? A large whale swam by and swallowed him up whole. Jonah stayed alive in the whale's belly. Filled with gratitude and regret, Jonah prayed to God for forgiveness for 3 days and 3 nights.
Oh God, please forgive me for my cowardly actions. I promise that from now on, I will carry out your wishes and never disobey you again.
As God is merciful and loving, he readily forgave Jonah. Soon the big whale had indigestion and spit Jonah out onto dry land. Jonah cleaned himself up and headed straight for Nineveh. Standing in the middle of the town square, he began preaching. A crowd began to gather around Jonah.
People of Nineveh, you have been living a life of sin. God is very displeased. He asked me to warn you that within 40 days, this city will be destroyed unless all of you repent sincerely.
Jonah brought God's message to the people of Nineveh and awakened them from their slumber. Many of them examined their own hearts, repented, and mended their past mistakes. Even the king asked Jonah how he could change so that he could set a good example for his people. Under Jonah's patient guidance, Nineveh was transformed into a peaceful, loving community. With his mission accomplished, Jonah left the city. In spite of all of this, his heart was not at ease.
What troubles you, Jonah?
My Lord, I trust your wisdom and judgment, but I can't forget how my people suffered because of what the people of Nineveh did to us. This is not fair. They should be punished for their wrongdoings.
Jonah, the people of Nineveh were ignorant of their inner divinity. After heeding my message, didn't they repent with all sincerity and change for the better? They are now my people and your brothers and sisters. I love all my children equally.
I understand now, my Lord. I will also forgive them and treat them as my kin. For as long as I am able, I will spread your teachings far and wide.
Did you like the story of Jonah and the whale? What can we learn from this story? We saw that God is always forgiving and loving. What else did we learn? We should listen to God's words and forgive others like God forgives us. And we should live a virtuous life. If we do something wrong, then we should repent and change for the better. In the story, if the people of Nineveh hadn't heeded Jonah's words and continued with their old way of life, they would have reaped bad consequences. Our beloved Supreme Master Ching Hai explained the law of cause and effect in a lecture in Singapore.
So that's why in the Bible it is stated that as you sow, so shall you reap. And in the Buddhist scriptures it is stated that it's the same thing, yeah? If you do good deeds, you get a good result. If you do bad, then you reap the result thereof. Most of the scriptures mention the same things. Now, in order to reach heaven, it is logically, now we know, that we have to tune into goodness, to the positive part of the world. And the more we step into goodness, the nearer to goodness, the more we emerged into this heavenly quality, the more we are near to heaven. Negative force may exist in our neighborhood, but they will not affect us.
In our world today, perhaps there are unkind things that we do, but we may not be aware that they are hurtful. Let's think for a moment. This year, because of the spreading of coronavirus, many schools are closed and children have to stay home. Things are not as they should be. How did this happen? COVID-19, a coronavirus, comes from eating animals. And there are many other kinds of diseases that are transmitted from animals to humans, such as swine flu or H1N1, bird flu or avian influenza, SARS, MERS, and Ebola. Can it be that humans are receiving the consequences of raising and eating animals for food? Let's look at a video together called Animal Equality. Warning. You might find the content herein disturbing, but the truth must be revealed.
Some people think this is what a farm looks like. But this is not the reality.
I don't see anything to play with. Where are all the animals?
I don't know, they must be here somewhere.
Maybe they're in here.
Most chickens raised for their flesh never get to feel the sun on their backs or scratching the earth. Because they have been bred to grow as big as possible, as quickly as possible, their hearts and bones cannot cope. This means heart failure is all too common, and their legs may break beneath them. Hens, kept for their eggs, are usually crammed to a cage, unable to even stretch their wings. This is where they spend their whole lives. And what about pigs? Those smart, sweet, and social animals. Many U.S. states still permit the use of gestation crates, which confine sows throughout each 16-week pregnancy. In desperation, these mothers go through the motions of nest building, but it is utterly futile. They will spend most of their lives in a space so small, they cannot even turn around. This is what we do to our fellow sentient beings, to get their meat and eggs. Factory farming goes against American values.
I don't want to play with this anymore.
Me neither.
Wow, our animal friends are treated so badly in the factory farms. We cause so much pain and anguish to them, and it appears that we are receiving the consequences of it.
Drop meat, drop fish, drop egg, drop anything that to do with animals. Just take up vegetable protein, vegan cheese, vegan fish, vegan meat, vegan shrimp, vegan anything. Delicious and wonderful and healthy. Help the planet. Rescue the animals. Save our world. Be a hero.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we all became vegan heroes, stopped eating animals, and befriended them all? Then, instead of passing diseases to each other, we will share loving energy. All will look at animals with a sense of renewed wonder and appreciation. Let's spread this love to all beings, including our animal friends. Do good deeds and be vegan. Not only will we receive good outcomes, our world will be a better place for it. We welcome your ideas and feedback to help us improve our program, Kids Wonderland. Please send them via suprememastertv.com/KW. Delightful viewers, we truly hope you've enjoyed watching Jonah and the Whale on Kids Wonderland. Remember the goodness inside of yourself, always.